So I've always liked when other YouTubers, do a quick bookshelf tour. My bookshelf kind of grew based on the inspiration of seeing other people's. I think what I have at no other bookshelf. Welcome back to the Muscle Code YouTube channel. This will be every season. I do a couple George R.R. Martin videos, as we're still waiting for Winds of Winter, which is pretty ridiculous. But this I'm going to do his top 3, in my opinion, short stories. So he has, if you're a fan of George R.R. Martin, if you read the books, first you get into the books, then you get into the theories, then you reread the books, and then you eventually get into his short story collections. So there's Dream Songs. Actually, I forgot to grab it, so just hang with me. It's right here. So there's Dream Songs, part 1, Dream Songs, part 2. And then he has that basically covers all of his 1,000 Worlds short stories. And I think this is an important, top 3 list to do and for people to watch or look into, because I feel like the quality of his short stories vary pretty widely too. So let me jump into it. Number 3, I have The Pear-Shaped Man. And it was a little creepy, like a little spooky, but definitely immersive. And you needed to know what was going on with this character. You just needed to. I think, for what it is as a horror short story, it's perfect. You can kind of read it on a long train ride. And it didn't have the, world building of a Song of Ice and Fire or some of his, science fiction-y ones, but it was just, it was like a perfect horror story from the perfect George R.R. Martin horror story. You could tell he wrote it with the creepy main character, and even with the little details with the Cheeto, whatever the Cheetos or whatever he was working with. So I have The Pear-Shaped Man at number 3. My number 2 is most people's favorite. Some consider it his best work of all time. Is Sand Kings. Now it's a great science fiction short story, almost like a novella, and great ending. I just thought the symbolism was a little bit heavy-handed, like a little bit like too obvious, where the ants or the little things, sand crawlers, mimicked their owner, and what that said about the George R. Martin's thoughts on God and different things like that. So it was just a little bit too obvious for my taste, but it was still a great, a very, very quintessential George R.R. Martin work, with the detail and like I said, a great ending, perfect ending. And we're still waiting for the Winds of Winter endings, but this shows that I think he will stick the landing. So number 1, I have And Seven Times Never Kill Man, the only short story of his that I have reread, because I think it's most similar to his A Song of Ice and Fire books. It had that same feeling, whereas when you reread it, you pick up more each time. And it had the, kind of like the mind control of, the pyramidal mind control is kind of similar to the tree network in the Song of Ice and Fire, and how everything sinks into that web, and the interconnectedness of different things. So it just kind of it fell into that class, and I think it's, like I said, it's the most similar to his A Song of Ice and Fire works, in my opinion. And I like how it, the twist is subtle, where he makes you, you pick up more on the reread and things like that. This whole episode I've been trying to think. The hive mind is what I was trying to get at. The hive mind in, with the pyramid, and the way it kind of gets control of its people through the relics that they
that they worship the same way as the old men used to worship the trees in Westeros, and how that kind of fits in with the hive mind mentality there. So there you have it. I got the pear-shaped man, Sand Kings, and 7 times never kill man. And I think it's worth to jump into his short stories, because I like a quote that someone I read recently, where it's like, the only show to capture the magic of Game of Thrones was the new show, Fire and Blood. So it's in a similar way. If you're looking for a series similar to A Song of Ice and Fire, you can find that on the science fiction side in his Thousand Worlds stories, Dream Songs 1, Dream Songs 2. So there you have it. As always, thanks for stopping by. Hope to see you back.
So I've always liked when other YouTubers, do a quick bookshelf tour. My bookshelf kind of grew based on the inspiration of seeing other people's. I think what I